All right, so if you're into this keto craze that's going on right now, Costco has come onto the bandwagon as well. They got a lot of new keto products hitting their shelves this past year, and even a little bit before, but more so now than ever. And one of the newer items is Highkey mini cookies. And they have this bag for $12.99. Now that's better than any price you're gonna find online or in any other store. Why? Because Costco gives you the savings, baby. That's why. So I'm gonna give it a try, and if you're interested and you like crunchy cookies like this, stop by Costco, give it a try. So I'm sure you've heard about Highkey at this point. You see it a lot of places. They're actually doing a big marketing campaign. So this is like the keto version of the mini Chips Ahoy crispy cookies. They're crispy, they're crunchy, they're buttery, they're sweet. They're a little bit overly sweet in my opinion, and that's because they use some sugar substitutes instead of sugar in order to make it keto. We'll get to that in a minute. But they're also gluten-free and grain-free as well, which kind of gets lost in the mix here, which are two big call-outs on any kind of a food item, but they get lost in the mix because keto is the big craze. And the big call-out, of course, is their no sugar added. FOMO, NOMO is their motto. So people don't have to miss out on giving up cookies if they want to watch their weight or watch their sugar intake. This is the alternative. So it is keto friendly, and there you go. You see it highlighted in white. You see it highlighted up top. It's the main thing that they talk about in any kind of advertising for this product. So let's dive right into it, and you'll see what makes this item keto, what makes any item keto, is that it's gonna be low carb, low sugar. Not that it necessarily has to have high fat or has to have high protein, but it has to be low carb, low sugar. And that's what you'll notice here. There's 12 grams of carbs, but what you're gonna see is that there's 9 grams of erythritol, and there's 2 grams of fiber, as well. So when you're doing the math to find out the net carb calculation, you'll see it right over here. There's 12 grams of carbs, but then there's 2 grams of fiber and 9 grams of erythritol. So what it is you take those fiber count and the erythritol count, any kind of a sugar alcohol, substitute sugar alcohol, is gonna come out of the total net carb count. And that's what leaves you with 1 gram of net carbs. Now they do this because your body technically processes these sugar substitutes a little bit different. The fiber also makes your body work a little bit harder to digest and break down. So technically it has a little bit of a less impact on your blood sugars and the way that they enter your body. So they are a little bit better for you calorie-wise and how your body burns them and creates energy from them. So that's the reason what makes this keto here. And the sugar substitutes that they're using are erythritol, which we already mentioned. And then here you're gonna see stevia and you're gonna see monk fruit. So those are two that are a little bit less tough on your digestive system. Erythritol is a little bit tougher. It just depends on what you can handle. Technically, it's safe to ingest, just in lower levels. It's regulated, but it is allowed at certain levels. It just depends what you can handle. So they've decided to use that as their main sweetener. They also have stevia and monk fruit in here as well. Two of the main things that are gonna give your food items flavor are fat and sugar. So if you're taking out the sugar, you're gonna wind up adding in a lot of fat to give it some extra flavor to make it taste good, so that you're gonna buy it. So there you put a lot of butter in here. You're also gonna see dried whole eggs, which are gonna give us some saturated fat. The coconut oil gives us saturated fat. You'll see 6 grams of saturated fats, 13 grams of total fat, which that's not necessarily the bad number. Saturated fat is the one that you have to be careful of. That's the stuff that really can affect your body. It affects your heart. It affects your cholesterol levels. So you just got to be careful with your saturated fat intakes. What you'll notice here in one serving, which is 7 cookies, and these are little cookies. I'll show you in a little bit once we crack this bag open. That's 32% of your recommended total daily intake in 7 cookies. So if you're having this as a snack, there goes a third of the saturated fat that you should be taking in for the whole day. And it's not that you need to take in this saturated fat. So if you have 0 saturated fat in your diet, there's no problem, as long as you're getting the good healthy fats. So it just depends. You don't want to be having too much saturated fat in your diet. So you can also note that there's 3 grams of protein per serving in this, which is nice. Just to give you an idea of a benchmark, Chips Ahoy has 1 gram of protein per serving. So this has a good amount more per serving. And Chips Ahoy has 2 grams of saturated fat. So there's the difference in the saturated fat, because Chips Ahoy has the sugar to give it a little more flavor. Highkey uses those alcohol substitutes. So they're gonna add a little bit more saturated fat in there to pump that flavor up more than the Chips Ahoy would. All right, so we're gonna crack this bag open. I'm here with my wife, Adriana, my hand model. Let's give you a sneak peek of what they actually look like inside. In case you haven't tried these before, you'll be able to take a look here. She's gonna pour some out on the plate to see the size of what they actually are. They're mini cookies, and there you have it. So they're a little bit more crumbly than other cookies you may have seen before. You see all these little fragments and pieces here, but that doesn't really affect the experience much at all. You're gonna get some crumbs on your fingers, but no big deal, just like any snack. That comes with the territory. Break into one so they can see what the texture's like. So definitely crispy. You could hear that crunch, and you can see it in there. Definitely, just like a mini cookie, just as you'd expect. Definitely crunchy, sweet, and buttery. Like you can taste that butter.
Buttery for sure.
You can taste the butter in there. If you're sensitive to the sugar substitute, those sugar alcohols, the monk fruit and the stevia, you'll feel it on your tongue. It's almost a little bit like a tingling, it feels like a little bit. Like a cooling tingling that you get from those sugar substitutes. But not bad. It just depends. If you're sensitive to it, you'll notice it. If not, you're going to enjoy it just as much as you would a Chips Ahoy. If you're watching your sugar intake, it is a great alternative. If that's what you're looking for, something keto. If you're on a keto diet, it fits right in. And right now at this point, they're pretty much available nationwide in Costco. So no matter where you are, you should be able to go into the dry section of your Costco, whether it's by the cookies or by the chips or by the keto items, and grab these. I haven't seen them on sale before. And from what I know, they're selling pretty well. So I don't know that they're going to be on a discount anytime soon. It normally depends if they're trying to push some products in because it's not selling well. Costco will put things on discount to get them flushed out so they can move new products in. But these tend to sell pretty well, so I don't know if you'll find them on a discount. So don't hold out if you want to try them. Don't hold your breath. Go grab them.